What's going on, everybody? It's Anthony Michael Russo from Be the Change. You guys probably saw my post earlier today, and the people that are commenting on it, it's on my personal page. I probably should share it on Be the Change. I also commented a little bit more what's going on in Afghanistan. For those of you that don't know yet, we've lost, I believe, 11 U.S. soldiers in a suicide bombing today at the Kabul airport, or that last evening, I guess. For people that don't understand, I having the conversation with people on that post that simply cannot understand or comprehend why we are so upset at the current government, Biden, what's going on, and thinking that, and some of them comparing this to Benghazi in any way, shape, or form, which was an utter and complete failure, and that regarded a minimal amount of lives compared to this. We just lost 11 soldiers in an area that was stabilized to the point where we did not have a single U.S. service member killed in over one calendar year, and then today we've lost 11. One person I want to direct this to, and I would love for you guys to share this because it's not going to be long, but Malcolm Nance, who was on with Ben Shapiro on Bill Maher, probably is one of the worst human beings I've ever seen, and he's got a major job at MSNBC, literally used the phrase hashtag deal with it in a tweet because he said 20 years, FYI, there have been terrorists, suicide bombers killing civilians. I don't know. He says killing civilians. I'm back. Hopefully. Come on. Yep. Killing civilians nearly daily in Afghanistan. Hashtag deal with it. So this is a member of our current press that used the phrase deal with it regarding, at that time, 4 service members dead, which now we're at 11. So I don't, in the conversations, it's like the people on the left in my personal page and in this world right now are still trying to fight for the fact that 20 years was a failure and we spent too much time there. Most people are not disagreeing with that. We should be out of Afghanistan. There was a plan in place, which now Biden is blaming this whole plan on Trump, which of course, it sounds like the right thing to do because that's really what you can do in this current administration. But when you've got the press that are actually falsifying, CNN was actually saying that he got tens of thousands of people out when every other, including mainstream media, ABC, NBC, CBS, was saying that is incorrect. If anybody actually looks at Twitter or looks at Instagram, the people that are stuck there, you will know very quickly that that is incorrect. $8 billion worth of equipment left. And again, there's ways of destroying it. There's doing different things. It was left for the Taliban. And right now, when we have the conversation, people are not understanding. We are not upset that we left. There was a plan in place to leave. We had to leave that country, but it was stabilized enough for several months. And I personally had posted 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, when I started learning from service members what was about to happen and veterans, and the outcries of saying we need to get out the translators, the people with visas, which that's one thing. We are leaving American citizens behind, and somehow the left is okay with that. I don't think they understand the rules of the military. We don't even leave servicemen behind, let alone innocent American civilians. And these are not people that are going to die. These are people that are going to be tortured. These are people that are going to be raped. These are people that are going to be punished on a daily basis, and just for being American, on top of the people that have helped our country for the last 20 years during this conflict. That, you know what, I'll agree with everybody on the left, but this was Bush baby's war. This was his little thing, and it was bullshit, and I will agree to that on 98% of it. Obama continued it. Bush started it. Trump actually created a plan to get out, which is failed right now because of simple things. You had a stabilized, for the most part, region, which for the last several months you could have been getting everyone out, and he pulled out. And to not blame that on the current administration shows your absolute bias and ignorance towards what's really going on in this world. You're so concerned with, well, Trump was horrible because he was Trump, and Biden's doing whatever he can. If that's the case, you are literally too you know what, I'm going to say it. You're too dumb to have a conversation anymore about what's going on in our own country, let alone the world. We just had 11 Marines dead, and you have news people saying hashtag deal with it. And his follow-up 2 hours later, after he got ridiculed for it, was saying how people were calling him the N-word. That's the easy out. Anytime you need an easy out and you are a leftist media that is of a different color, when you have made one of the worst statements I've ever heard by an American media person, journalist, to say hashtag deal with it when Marines have died because of incompetence in this office, to then just clap back and say it's because I'm getting called names because I'm black, and you're disrespecting soldiers. No offense. I mean, I think it's horrible that you were called an N-word. I would like to see the receipts on it for you to prove it. But you made a huge mistake, and your PR person probably said this is how to get out of it. And that's garbage. You should never be a journalist ever again. If anybody on the right would say something like that, they probably would never have a career. It's up to 12 now. Yeah, I believe it's 11 Marines and 1 Navy doctor. I'm going to look at some comments for a split second. This is insane. Yeah, Brenda, Vietnam in comparison, this is very similar to that, and we're such a higher level advanced country now in this, and we're making these kind of mistakes. I see prayers for Raven. Let's see. I don't know what happened to Raven. Looking at this, the death toll. Yeah. And then, I mean, the death toll is going to be 50 plus. It has to be. Let's be honest. If you look at the photos, there's videos on Instagram, what's going on. And we're not talking about military. There's probably the 11 might be accurate. Oh God. Okay. Raven, your cousin's husband is one over there. And he's a Marine. Raven, do we know if he's okay? We got word if he's safe. Again, I have no patience anymore for the people that I'm having conversations with on the left that I'm literally agreeing with you. We're not talking about the fact that we needed to leave. We're talking about the execution. All day I've been trying to think of a proper analogy. It's like, and I don't have one yet, but it's like you leave the grocery store with groceries. And yes, we all had a plan when we went in. And you know what? If we got the 3 things we needed that were healthy, there it is. That's what it is. Say we're going on a diet. Here's my analogy for you. Say we're going on a diet and we're going to get all the greens that we can. That's our plan when we get there. We want to get all the healthy foods. And then all of a sudden, before we check out, we keep the greens, but we also decide to get every different microwavable dinner that we possibly can. And we put that in there and we get home and all the greens go bad and all we eat is the garbage. That's kind of what's happening right now in a scale of people dying, Marines dying, American citizens getting tortured. And right now Biden canceled this press conference because here's what's going to happen. This is another thing we said. We said this is going to force us to send back into the country, which is what they want the whole time, to continue the money-making military machine, which is in Afghanistan, which we should have been out of, which was the plan to be out of. And now we're going to be forced to temporarily go to war with the Taliban and clear that country back out. And there's really no, I mean, when 11 Marines are killed, 12 service members in one day, if Biden stands by his word, which he said, nobody should be touched, et cetera, all these different things, we have to go. We have to go to war. We have to enact all of our systems. Unfortunately, now we are going to be sending more service members, like Suni talked about. She didn't want her husband sent there. I get that, because this is now this was a complete failure of execution. Just because somebody says to pull out previously, and that was the plan, there's many ways of pulling out of a situation. This is, let's see, here's a fact. This is, I agree. I think that here's the deal. It's either the greatest amount of incompetence in the history of the American government, up there, top 3. This is, Vietnam, top 3 level of incompetence, or this was on purpose, which to me is murder. Now you're murdering Marines. The 11 Marines, you've murdered them. They've either died based on the incompetence of this administration, Congress, Senate, et cetera, or this was targeted to force us back into Afghanistan, which then becomes murder. And I will tell you that if this was Donald Trump making this mistake, I would be saying the exact same thing. I would be making the exact same comments. And this time, just the same way that we should if we had any common sense in this country and lack of bias and just looking at things from an honest perspective. Joe Biden impeachment papers should be written today. They should have been written 5 days ago. He should be impeached. Unfortunately, that would mean Kamala is our president, and that's another completely scary, horrific thing, which is technically what the left wanted all along. But based on the leadership in this instance, and based on if you research what exactly it means to why you can impeach a president, these are crimes worthy of impeachment, and we are there 7 months into this presidency. I want you to keep an eye open for what happens. Underground. Let's see, such a cop out. Yeah, I don't understand how that phrase, and the fact that he was bold enough to keep it up, which I know nothing is ever deleted, but he kept it up and doubled down, and then blamed it on people calling him an N-word. It's Malcolm Nance if you want to follow that. Court martial speech. So you have to wait for her to do something specific, but I'm with you. But then we've got the Pelosmeister. It was worse in Saigon. I mean, I wasn't alive for that. But based on my research, this is up there on the worst. And it's what happens in the next couple of weeks is going to be very telling. I don't understand how for the last couple of months, and it wasn't just Biden. This was Congress dragging their feet on getting people out of that country, out of that region. He actually made a comment that they're going to start approving the visas and getting them going 2 months ago. How the hell did we get to today? And then how the hell are we listening to the Taliban? And now we can't. We better not listen to the Taliban's orders about leaving on August 31st. We have become we have become so much weaker as a country than we were 7 short months ago. People dislike Trump all over the world, no doubt, but we are showing our hand of incompetence and weakness right now at a level and a scale that is terrifying. And I will tell you, with all of our weapons there, do you know that the embassies of China and Russia, they're cool. They're not being touched. They're there. So maybe the Afghanis don't have any idea what to do with our equipment, nor the codes, nor any of the information in the Blackhawks. But you know who does? The Chinese embassy, as well as, or the Chinese military, as well as the Russians. So this isn't just about a bunch of rebel Afghanis. This is about losing control of our weaponry, our technology, our information, and most importantly, human life, the Marines, as well as the American citizens. And then as a third level, which it's sad that we have a third level, the people that have worked with our government and with our military, the interpreters, which are in the tens of thousands. What's going on is criminal. Trump tweeted bad things. Sometimes he made people angry, and the news spun it to make his speeches even worse than they were. This isn't about a speech. This isn't about words. This is about actual actions that have led to Americans being tortured, killed, murdered. Wake up. And I know most of the people watching this are on the same side as me, and I encourage you to share it. And honestly, at this point, get into the tips with your friends and say, tell me how this is bad, or tell me how this is not as bad as what was. Honestly, have the conversation. Explain to me how you can stand up for this. How can you can look at yourself in the mirror and stand by this. I was angry because Trump made certain decisions where he left a tweet up where some asshat on his tweet, he left it up for 3 hours where some asshat was yelling back and forth Trump supporters, and he yelled, one guy was trying to be funny, which was horrific, and said white power. I went hard on Trump. I almost said that was a reason to not vote for him, just because he shared something on his Twitter. Whereas right now we have a president that has allowed Marines to be killed because of bad decision making, American citizens that he can't keep track of, and laughing at press conferences, saying you'll be if we can't get out all the Americans. Somebody asked a question, he goes, "You'll be first to know," and he laughed. To realize that we have a president of the United States that, granted, has no idea where he is, laughing at anything regarding this tragedy, which is what it is unreal. Can you imagine if Trump even said one word wrong during a press conference of what's going on right now, let alone laughing? Shame on every single person on the left that is not seeing what's going on and calling it out for what it is. This is not about the last 20 years. This is about the last 20 days. It's about the last 10 days. Your president has failed. Our president has failed. That's all I've got for you guys today. Share this. I know we get very political now at Be the Change, but the thing that's destroyed us in this country is politics. The thing that's destroyed us in this country is bias, and the things that have destroyed us in this country is social media. And this brings there is no excuse to what is going on, and for people to not see it. So let's utilize the channels that we have, which is the same things that have brought us down, to talk about politics, to educate people on politics, and to utilize social media. So this is what, and when people get huffy on my Instagram or whatever it might be, if this is now what Be the Change is about, guess what? Be the Change, in this sense, this platform has been mine for 4 years. For a year and a half, we have grown with the people that watch this page. And I am going to utilize this platform to continue to speak and share truth of what's going on in politics with the help of logic, reasoning, and common sense. So, to those that say, this isn't seemingly what Be the Change is about, this isn't your Be the Change, go create your own page. I don't give a shit. What this is about is motivating the American public to actually see what's going on in this country. It's been on a downhill slide for a decade. There were points where he picked up and points where he dropped. And right now we are at a very low point. We have a president that is laughing while we have Marines, service members dying. Please understand that, guys. With that said, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Keep the course. If I might pop on later if I feel like there's any more news. But start having these hard conversations with your friends. Start being willing to share videos like this, because I don't think there was anything wrong that I said in terms of overly picking a fight or not being empathetic. I think we need to be empathetic to service members that are protecting our country right now. And a lot of them are waking up. A lot of middle grounders are waking up. We're at 12 U.S. service members killed. Oh, CNN reported 15 more injured. So there's 15 Marines injured, or 15 service members injured, 12 killed. This is a very dark day in our military. And for those on the left that are still making excuses, it's time to wake the fuck up.